Welcome back. All right, so we are going to discuss the February 24th edition of Raw. Yep. So I watched this tonight. There were just two games in the NHL. This is actually being recorded during the second intermission of the Vegas Kings game. So, Logan Paul came out first, even though he's from Ohio. Fans not big supporters of his. He's such a natural heel. He gloats about beating Ray. CM Punk then comes out. There was a great promo by Punk because that's kind of what he does. That's kind of his thing. Logan then slaps CM Punk and leaves. Is that the match that they're building up to for WrestleMania? Is that the way they're going to go with it? Is this just a sign that Punk's going to eliminate Logan Paul from the Elimination Chamber? We shall see. Then we had Ludwig Kaiser versus Pete Dunne versus Penta. I know this is going to sound weird, but this feud, I'm not sure where this is going. I'm not sure if this is going to lead to a triple threat with them with at Mania, or if this is going to involve Bron Breakker at some point for the Intercontinental title. But Kaiser ends up pinning Pete Dunne for the win, so Penta's winning streak is done. Even though he does not take the pin here. The pin, of course, being given by Kaiser. Kaiser needed a win here. He's been on the losing end quite a bit, so they definitely needed to give Ludwig a win. So then we get a video package for John Cena, who wasn't on the show. Jackie talks to Rhea Ripley. EO interrupts. They're going to fight next Monday. I know some of this backstage stuff is stuff that you may have had commercial breaks during, but just telling you what I saw. Jackie Redmond today did all the interview segments. I don't know. It was fine. So then we had a fight between New Day and LWO. The LWO at this point, I think, has outlived their usefulness. New Day comes out. Kofi fires up the crowd, and so does Xavier. They're excellent heels. And I understand, too, this was likely during a commercial break, but some of the stuff they said to the crowd was entertaining. New Day ends up winning. It was a good showing by LWO, and honestly, these guys might be fine, but the group's got to get broken up. And what really makes it bad is that Dragon Lee has a run in after, so you have 3 members of LWO and 2 members of New Day, and I don't consider Xavier Woods or Kofi Kingston to be really physically imposing, and they still beat down all 3 guys. So if that's not a sign that the LWO is basically done, I don't know what is. But we'll see. The LWO just feels like it might be best for that group to break up at this point. Judgment Day has a chat backstage, so it's Finn, Dom, Liv, Raquel, Carlito. Dom talking about a new member. Please let it be Aleister Black. I think Aleister Black would give the Judgment Day a different look. I think then you could have Finn turn face. I think that can work. Finn works as a face or a heel. So, yeah, we'll see. Then they had Kathy Kelly talking to AJ Styles. Logan Paul interrupts because, sure, why not? Gunther comes out alone. And then he did a promo where he announced Akira Tozawa as his opponent, which I thought was nice. This feels like a throwback. This feels like something you would see with old wrestling, where you wouldn't necessarily know who was coming in. It's presented as if, hey, this is a hand-picked opponent by Gunther, which is an insult to Tozawa, right? If they do this right, they could actually build Tozawa up. I know they're not going to, but they could. So, nice heel promo by Gunther before the match, talking about Akira Tozawa and how he's gone the wrong way, and he's doing, TikTok dances backstage with the other members of American Alpha. So, the squash match follows. Akira gets in a little bit of offense, not a lot. He's not going to get a lot. Otis then gets involved. He ends up in a sleeper. He turned his back to Gunther. You just don't do that. And then Jey Uso comes out, and the fans love Jey Uso, and he is so over. So for people who aren't happy that he's in the main event picture for WrestleMania, I apologize, but I understand why WWE did this. He's over. The crowd loves him. So yeah, we get Jey Uso there. Then Dakota Kai versus Lyra Valkyria for the Intercontinental title. The Nightwing gives Lyra the win. Michael Cole was selling, hey, this has been a pretty even matchup. I didn't see it that way at all. Valkyria was really controlling it. I honestly think Valkyria should be a heel. There's just something heelish in her presentation, but she hasn't turned, and then there was a hug after, and then Ivy Nile attacks Dakota first and then attacks Lyra. I was actually half expecting a Dakota Kai heel turn. But I remembered too, like she's partners with Io, so that wouldn't work. And so yeah, Ivy Nile attacks and she grabs the title. I'm not sure that I like the Intercontinental title picture. I'm just being honest. I'm not a big fan of it. And then they talked about Poochie, Chad Gable being mentioned because Ivy Nile's out there. So I've decided that Chad Gable's Poochie. He's gone home to his planet because he's 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 studying lucha wrestling so he can figure out how to beat luchadors. Well, everybody's figuring out how to beat luchadors, so I'm not sure why he's gone unless they're going to build up a feud between him and Penta for Mania. It's weird. So then they had a Sami Zayn KO video hyping the Elimination Chamber, and Jackie interviews Sami. And I thought Sami came across as very believable and relatable. The reason that Sami Zayn is so popular with the fans, he's down to earth, and he just, you feel like he's a guy that you'd be buddies with, you'd be friends with. He's not like all, bulked up. He's a normal guy, and he's just great. The way he delivered that promo was fantastic. I guarantee Kevin Owens watching that promo was applauding him, and they're going to have a great match. And I think this will roll over to WrestleMania, and I think they're going to have an amazing match with one another. I remember in NXT, and this was Owens early in his WWE career. They had a fantastic feud. I will never forget those power bombs onto the ring apron. That just looked brutal, and he did it over and over and over to Sami. Like, I remember watching that and thinking, I know this is predetermined, but are we sure that Sami's being protected here? These look brutal. Then we had Bron Breakker versus Dominic Mysterio. As Braun, I don't know if he's a heel or a face. I get the feeling that WWE now is taking this heel face kind of thing, and instead they're just focusing on certain wrestlers against other wrestlers, kind of getting away from the standard good guy, bad guy thing. I don't know how well it's going to work. And then we had a DQ win for Bron Breakker when Finn and Carlito get involved. Carlito ends up eating a spear. I'm not sure where this is going, but if Dominic ends up winning the Intercontinental title, I like that. Dominic Mysterio is so over as a heel now. If they ever put any title on him, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the crowd reaction would be to that. So if Dominic ends up beating Braun, say at Mania for the Intercontinental title, I would expect kind of a nuclear reaction from the crowd. But Dominic's done a lot of good work. He's put a lot of guys over. He's been a good soldier for the company. I think a little bit of a push for Dominic could be fun. Then they had the recap of the weird Rock Cody segment, and I thought, okay, so we're still gonna do this. The idea that the Rock wants his soul. He's gonna sell his soul to the Rock. So then they had a New Day interview, which I understand was likely during a commercial break, and their heat is just fantastic. I thought it was great. They're like, hey, look, we're already in our street clothes because we can't wait to get out of this ugly city. They just make it easy. And then American Made is attacked backstage by War Raiders. American Alpha and American Made, stop. Just there needs to be some kind of change in names for stables here because it just gets kind of confusing. So yeah, the War Raiders attack and they're gonna fight the Creed brothers next week for the titles. So we'll see what ends up happening there. My guess is that since that'll be right after Elimination Chamber, that's where Chad Gable comes back, is my guess, next week. Then Cody arrives. I assume he has the soul with him. Seth interrupts his promo, and they went back and forth, and it didn't really settle anything. It's just basically, don't sell your soul, Cody. I'm not going to sell my soul. Don't sell your soul. I don't know. I guess he gets a chance to partner up with The Rock. I don't know. It's not working. I don't feel like it's working, and I think this could really hurt Cody's momentum going into Mania, which I didn't think that was possible, but it could. And then I was kind of surprised how this one unfolded. You had Bianca and Naomi defending the tag titles against Liv and Raquel. They have really not done a good job of hiding it from those of us who are longtime wrestling fans who understand Naomi's the one that attacked Jade Cargill. I thought something was going to happen here where it wasn't necessarily revealed, but maybe Jade would show up or something would happen. But anyways, before the match happens, Jay kicks Grayson Waller in the face backstage. And I don't understand why he's still with Austin Theory, other than they haven't broke him up because they don't know what they're going to do with them after, which is, well, it's kind of damning, to be honest. And I would love to say damning praise, but it's not. It's just, It's too bad because I think both Grayson Waller and Austin Theory could be good wrestlers. Yes, they could pass for brothers to one another. There have been times, especially early on when I was getting to know the wrestlers, that I'd have a hard time telling one from the other. But they got to break them up because it's been all the time that they're fighting with each other and they fight during matches, and it's they're not credible at this point. Then Liv almost wins wins the tag belts with a code breaker. Dominic Mysterio comes out, he interferes, he distracts the ref. I have to say, crowds now chant "Holy" a little bit too much. They also chant "This is awesome" a little bit too much. Those chants used to be reserved for like really big moments, and now it's just a superplex off the top rope gets you a holy chant. And in this match, I don't even remember what it was. I was irritated. It's one of those things that irritates me because the chants don't mean anything. It's not any different really than "Ref, you suck" in hockey. It doesn't mean anything. Fans chant, it doesn't matter. It's chanted so often that it's lost all meaning. And the holy chants, the "fight forever," the "this is awesome" happens all the time. I'm always bewildered at hearing it, and it happens in AEW and WWE shows. There's times where I hear "this is awesome," and I'm like, why? It's a regular wrestling match. Like, it's a good match. I don't know about awesome. Awesome used to be like reserved for the really big matches. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. Old guy yelling at, shakes his fist at Cloud. Lots of false finishes in this, and then Liv just pins Naomi for the titles. You could look at it as kind of a dirty move by Raquel to do it, but she just slammed Naomi's head into the top of the post, which Naomi protected herself with nicely, and then Naomi just falls to the mat and gets pinned. Was it a dirty finish? I guess, but I thought for heels, I thought that was one of the cleaner wins you're going to get. And so now going into Elimination Chamber, now you'll have Naomi and you'll have Bianca. At some point, they'll come to blows during the match. I expect Jade Cargill to come out during the match and expose that it was Naomi who attacked her. So, and then, or end up costing Naomi her spot in the match. Somehow, during the match, getting involved, some kind of distraction and getting her pinned, whatever it is. But I think that's where they're going to head with it. So let me know your thoughts in the comments section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. And there you go. Raw, February 24th edition. Review done. Thanks again for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.